Innovative content, global audience.
In the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, because we're reaching you live from our SROC studio here in Abuja. You're welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Nigeria. How are you doing today? How is the situation in your area? You can always be part of this show. Just call us in on 080381649 and 79. How are you doing this morning, patient? Of course, I have a new co-host with me today. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning, Nigerians.
My name is Princess. You're welcome to the show, and I also have Moses John that will be joining us via call this morning. Moses, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
You're welcome, Moses. So we have a lot of interesting stories today, Moses. A lot. Like one here that really caught my attention. Yesterday, I was practically begging. I was practically appealing to NLC not to shove the strike. What happened? It's something that I like. This morning, I saw the headings and I was just shocked. That was not very nice, but who knows? Maybe it's for the good of everyone. And then we have the almighty IU also stepped down amid the PDP crisis. We have a lot of trending stories and issues here this morning. So I'll quickly run us through the first paper for today, and I'll start with the Nigerian Tribune. Moses, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay.
All right, I'm going to start this morning with the Nigerian Tribune, and these are some of the stories, the headlines this morning. PDP crisis, IU out, Damangum in, Wike celebrates. That is quite interesting. I actually saw that coming. National Working Committee set to review suspension of Shema, Ayim, Fayoshe others meets today. Ihe Joha withdraws from PDP governorship primary election in Imo. We have Otom withdraws case from tribunal, begs for forgiveness. And also, there's all these stories, of course, can be seen on page 3 of the paper. We have another story here that says nothing will truncate handover of power in May 29. That is coming from federal government this morning. Tinubu nominates Kebbi governor Wale Odun into transition council. We have another story here also that says CSOs to INEC account for 400 billion spent on general elections. That story is on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Of course, they will have to account for that money. And then we have another story here that says Labour shelves plan strike, gives CBN 2 weeks to make Naira notes available. That story is on page 11. We also have this morning here 7 injured as fire guards building in Balogun Market on page 26. That is quite a sad one. We have another story here also that says Afeni Ferres sacks 2 principals officers disown statement against Iwayanwu describe presidential pool as sham. That story is on page 3 of the paper. We have another story also here that says Zenith Bank records 24% impressive double digits growth in gross earnings. That story is on page 6 of the paper. These are some of the headlines we have on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Moses, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here loud and clear.
Yes, I have a story here. As we can see on the Nigerian Tribune, one of the major headlines here says that PDP crisis, IU out, Damangum in, Wike celebrates. Now, what's your take on that? I actually saw that coming anyway, not like it's strange, but let me just have your opinion on this.
Well, Princess, good morning, and
Good morning.
Nigerians and you. The truth is that PDP crisis, since after primary election, it's been one problem or the other. And you see, that has actually claimed their presidential beat because we saw a lot of stakeholders dispose the nonsense that led to Atiku Abubakar emerging as presidential candidate. Fast forward to when we started talking about a Southern governor, and I've heard why I said, why should the party have her own presidential candidate from the north and the party chairmanship again from the north? And he was very vocal about it, and they had some other governors when they call themselves
G5.
G4, G5, and everybody. So that's actually related to what is happening today. Ayu was uh, happened to got the sacrificial lamb because the land of Antiku, another NWC of the party, insisted that it's either Ayu resign. I mean, he has to resign or else we cannot it is taken out the back, considering what he did to which is security. It's not easy to work on which not out again. So, well, it's unfortunate that at this time, I plan to go. And then you also saw the PCC, which is the Presidential Regional Committee Council also of the party say that it's removal is illegal, and then let us see.
Of course, they've head to the courts where we will have the final outcome of that particular issue. Whatever happens, we just really. That is the same scenario that is playing out right now. Exactly the same.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, at this time, it's unfortunate that he has to wait until the party.
Had to practically throw him out with so much force and so much issues. Anyways, we have another story here. Also, I really want to hear from you on this one. I see that Labour actually shelves the planned strike. I was not very happy about that, Moses.
You have to be happy. You see, the thing is, that people, their interest basically is that Nigerian workers are going through 205 since the introduction of the Naira design and the cashless policy. Because Nigerians have to actually be buying Naira. In this country, people buy 2,000 with 600 Naira. Some buy 5,000 with 1,500. So it was becoming so unbearable for Nigerian workers if they transport themselves from their homes to their private offices. And the organized labor firm, they have given several warning to this governor of Central Bank, to see to whatever is happening. And even after the Supreme Court ruling that people should be allowed to run tarifa soon, the new. But we saw Central Bank was dragging on, ensuring that they make note available to Nigerians. But not until the energy that know if they can do the simple thing by ensuring this is available. Everyone does picking their offices. Again, we saw them running.
So so Moses, what actually brought about this shoving of the plan strike? What is the single reason for that?
So the reason is we saw some improvements in the naira availability. Okay.
But I can't see any in Abuja here. Let's be sincere, Moses. As of today, you don't see POS people around you. When you go to the ATM cash points, it's not paying either. Or the queues there are just in numbers. I don't think anybody will have patience to wait, except you don't have any other thing doing for today.
We're absolutely present. So in the process, right? In the process, this policy has been on ground for some months now. And you know that one thing is that Nigerians who are what's it called, who are cash crops, who probably don't have these guys, will be running through to draw their money. But as we speak, the situation has not been the same. Like when people have to buy, what we call, have to pay huge amount of money to get into cash. The situation I mean, drastically beaten the beat.
Anyway, Moses, yes, go ahead.
Labor, basically, they are not in any way against the policy like I told you earlier. All they care for is that CBN should make available cash so that workers
Cash for the
don't have to go
people.
through all this, I mean, accessing this cash before to their place of work. But CBN assured labor, I mean, there are several engagements they have with organized labor as well as the limits of labor and employment.
This is on the heat of the meeting yesterday, right?
Absolutely. But then you see, it can no longer, even after they met with CBN as well as the of labor, it held National Executive Council meeting, it's an organ of Congress that decide on what to do. And then the feedback from the meeting showed that that the three states of the federation, we've actually recognized a little improvement in cash availability. So that's okay. Since I mean, the situation
There's improvement. Okay, let's watch for the time, and because I see that there is another story, another paper also that noted that giving 2 weeks ultimatum. So we are still watching between now and the next 2 weeks, right, to see how much more we'll have. All right, that's all right, Moses. Apparently, we'll come back to that to visit this same issue before the end of the show today. But we'll quickly move on to the next newspaper now.
And on the Nation newspaper, Buhari, Tinubu well placed to perform as president. And Ayu steps aside as PDP national chairman. And this story will be found on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Pengassan converses petrol subsidy removal on page 6. And on page 6 again, police appoints DIG, promotes 24 to AIG. President elects nominees Bagudu, Edu, Edu, Edu John, Transition Council. And on page 4, Labour shelves planned strike over Naira scarcity for 2 weeks. And on page 5, you'll find the continuation of the story. President leads torrents of eco- torrents of economy for president-elect at 71. Prayers to hold in Lagos.
Okay, these are some of the stories making waves this morning on the Nation newspaper. And Moses, you heard that story ladly. Pengasin canvasses for petrol subsidy removal. And I want your take on this.
you see, before now, pregnancy has never been against removal of fuel subsidy. The point I've always made that you can't remove the subsidy where, I mean, in an import-driven economy like ours. For instance, why was the government, for instance, keep importing PMS into Nigeria? What happened to our refinery? Do you understand? Now,
But Moses, if you agree with me, there's this insinuation that, of course, when they remove subsidy, the PMS will become expensive. More, how true is that? Yes.
of course, of course,
As it stands, Moses, we are already growing it. We that are buying it on a daily basis, and now you want to add to that. I don't think that would be fair on us.
that makes sense. Like I said, the issue with organized labor and with pregnancy includes things. You cannot remove subsidy in an importing PMS from China now. Why, why are we importing PMS? Why don't, I mean, our refineries refine our bad domestic fuels? Do you understand? Now, if this product is refined in Nigeria, the price of PMS won't be as high as among the banks refine it at. Because you see,
Okay, so it's just for a while. The increase will be for a while. I say that means the increase will actually be for just a while before it will be normalized or what?
well, it's only when we are refining product in Nigeria that the price will be stabilized. In as much as we keep importing PMS to Nigeria, the price will keep going up. So the government should find a way to cushion the effect. All over the world, governments pay subsidy on products that are essential to our citizens. So Nigeria should not be in exception. What happened to other groups? You know, that government is subsidizing. So, I mean, I'm saying is that removing subsidy is not as if it's a bad thing. But removing subsidy in an country economy like ours is going to spend doom for our citizens. The citizens are already are already
Going
going
through
through
hell. So doing this, I think it won't be fair on us. That is what my stand is on this. Anyway, we'll hopefully will bring the Pengasin that chairman. I called the last time he's out of the country. I don't know whether he's back, but hopefully we'll bring him on the show one of these days. We hear more from him. And then we'll move quickly right away to the Punch newspapers, and these are some of the headlines this morning. Suspension, IU heads for court as PDP appoints acting chair. IU wants court to overturn suspension. Damangum to run party pending judgment. PDP recorded worst electoral acting under IU and battle chair weak, gone for good. G5. And then we also have a story here that say court cases would stop handover to Tinubu Shetima. This is coming from federal government on page 20 of the Punch newspaper. We also have a story here that says stop fuel subsidy, revive refineries. Pengasing tells government. But this is quite confusing because on the nation, Moses, are you there? On the nation's newspaper, we saw that Pengasing canvasses petrol subsidy remover. And then on Punch paper, we are seeing that stop fuel subsidy, revive the refineries. Pengasing tells federal government.
well, presence, we not need to be confused here. Interpreting journalism. You see, you have different reporters.
That's true. Different headlines as well. Okay, the content of the report with the details will tell you more about that. I understand, Moses. Go ahead.
People also take that headline based on their interests.
That's right. I love that one based on your interest.
Enter people into the world, you now see basically what even the headline might be even confusing, you know. And so when you read through the story, you now get the gist of basically what the reporter was trying to pass across.
That's right. So viewers, you might want to get a copy to see more details of these stories. And then we move on quickly on the Punch newspaper. This is a labor shell strike gives CBN fresh week 2 weeks ultimatum. That story is on page 43 of the Punch newspaper. And then we'll have another story here also to say Ramadan Yobe reduces working hours for civil servants. That story is on page 41 of the Punch newspaper. And then we have another story here also rampaging Ogun, kidnappers kill two adult couple. That story is on page 4 and 5 of the paper. Sad one. And then we have another one. One dies, seven injured as fire guards Lagos market. That story is on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. We also have a story here this morning that says federal government $22 billion loan request rejected. This is coming from reps members on page 30 of the paper. We also have a story here also. Zenith Bank grows gross earnings by 24% to 400 and beg your pardon to 945.5 billion naira. That story is on page 31 of the paper. And these are all the stories we have this morning on the Punch newspaper. We'll move quickly now to the next paper.
On page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper, UK Inamani on PDP crisis. I use tenure, unmitigated disaster, we have vindicated. Um, Buhari flags off natural oil drilling Ebenue. A. Well, this story is found on page 13. And on page 5, Zenith Bank's 2022 gross earnings up by 24%. And PSC appoints Ebutukun DIG, promotes CP Frank Mba, 23 others, AIG on page 5. Myanmar confirms 1 dead, 7 injured, and 4 arrested on page 19 of the Blueprint newspaper. And Tinubu nominates Bagudu Wale Idun into Transition Council, and the story will be found on page 5. Kaduna Abuja train attack, I beg your pardon. 1 year after KDSG accounts for victims items. The story is found on page 5 of the Blueprint newspaper. And 10th Senate APC will be fair in zoning arrangements, says Musa. And NWC Justice for Redemption names Damagun as replacement. Sack illegal in 6 parties, PCC spokesman. Ihedioha withdraws from Imo PDP governorship primaries, and this story will be found on page 5 of the Blueprint newspaper. And that's all we have on the Blueprint this morning.
Moses, now there's this story making waves this morning. You heard your heart stepping aside. What's your take on that? And that is actually in one of your headlines this morning from the Blueprint newspapers.
Yeah, yes, but as you see, when we see the rumor about his resignation from the party and withdrawing from the governorship race, mind you, other people, it's not far-fetched. With which labor is growing across the country. So many persons feel, I think it's high time because connects to a party that they see this prospect. Well, the rumor, what we gather is that Nigeria might be calling, picking the Labour Party ticket and to move from family. So I don't know how true that might be, but the truth is that he has resigned from the People Democratic Party and withdrawn the governorship bids. So let's wait in a few days and see if we're going to
Of course, we have to wait and see more of that. That is actually a developing story. And then we move on also this morning to the next paper available this morning here. And these are some of the stories making waves this morning. This is the Daily Trust newspaper, and we have the major headline here. Buddha Kaduna train 1 year after attack. Full services yet to resume. And the rider says how security operative averted another attack. Train lacks train lacks control lock. Poses new security risk success. Deploy more technology victims. All the stories can be found on page 4 of the paper. We have other stories here as well that says PDP crisis. How National Working Committee sack IU despite resistance. That story is on page 12 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We also have a story here also that say NNPC to raise crude reserve to 50 billion per barrel. Explores Nasarawa oil field. That story is on page 27. Lassa fever kills 142 persons in 23 states in 11 weeks. That story is on page 7 of the paper. We also have a story here also that says woman gives birth in bandits den. Baby killed, mother freed. Really a sad one. That story is on page 24 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Have another, this is coming from, we've seen this before. NLC issues 2 week fresh ultimatum over cash scarcity. That story is on page 7 of the paper. A subsidy removal, Buhari's government hand off palliative implementation. That story, of course, is on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Moses, are you there? Yes, I have a story here also that says NNPC to raise crude reserve to 50 billion barrels. Explore Nasarawa field. Now, what's your take on this? Let's go to your state now.
Listen, I agree that that will be a cost rather than a blessing to the states. Whereby what has happened in other parts of the country where um, like, sometimes it's better there is committing like claims about our oil well, which we say these things and that as well. My worry that couldn't be that our resources in this country is more like a curse than a blessing. Why should Nigeria, despite we have groups in this country, I will see nice fairness at some places over 200 naira per liter. This also for me, even if the NFDC brings what we call the good result of 50 million barrels, it can be how much more which good is it to the common man on the street? How would this translate to someone who gradually if it is called because maybe have no job, maybe have a no job or things like that. So government should put on their people now. They should work and ensure we resolve this problem in this country. No, what we call after training the crew, they will now export it and then go and import a less quality petroleum product to the country. So the other product that should serve as other source of income in the country is being exported out. I'm not really very with my state here. It should the economic of the statement. I bet you what the people say and said, it will cause one problem to the state.
Anyway, we see how that goes, but whatever happens, we pray that whatever happens, it should always be in the interest of the people rather than some personal individuals. Anyway, we'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue with the reviews of the newspaper. Don't go anywhere, stay with us.
RTV London, in partnership with NTA TV Enterprise, present the maiden edition of the Nigerian Week in the capital of the world, London. A wonderful blend of entertainment, business, and networking, displaying a wide range of art, national cash crops, financial product and services, and real estate for huge extra opportunity in diaspora. Look no further. The 36 states of the Federation, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Trade and Investment, the Nigerian Film Corporation, and host of others will be in attendance. Date 15 to 21st of May 2023. Venue Lighthouse, Camberwell, Southeast London. For details, log on www.superiorradiotelevision.com/Nigerian Week or call +447 549 513 619 or +234 814 358 2856.
Ladies, are you ready to shine? Here's a golden opportunity for you to show the world the queen in you, as the second edition of Face of SRTV Ladies Edition is about to begin. What are you waiting for? Register online with just 500 naira and stand a chance of winning a cash prize of 100,000 naira and the deal of becoming our ambassador. There will also be consolation prizes for second and third place winners. To register, kindly pay the registration fee and send your name, age, picture, and state of origin to this number 0906 895 2170. For more inquiries, please call 0907 400 7816. Powered by SRTV London. The face of
RTV London, in partnership with NTA TV Enterprise, present the maiden edition of the Nigerian Week in the capital of the world, London. A wonderful blend of entertainment, business, and networking, displaying a wide range of art, national cash crops, financial product and services, and real estate for huge extra opportunity in diaspora. Look no further. The 36 states of the Federation, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Trade and Investment, the Nigerian Film Corporation, and host of others will be in attendance. Date 15 to 21st of May 2023. Venue Lighthouse, Camberwell, Southeast London. For details, log on www.superiorradiotelevision.com/Nigerian Week or call +447 549 513 619 or +234 814 3.
Ladies, are you ready to shine? Here's a golden opportunity for you to show the world the queen in you, as the second edition of Face of SRTV Ladies Edition is about to begin. What are you waiting for? Register online with just 500 naira and stand a chance of winning a cash prize of 100,000 naira and the deal of becoming our ambassador. There will also be consolation prizes for second and third place winners. To register, kindly pay the registration fee and send your name, age, picture, and state of origin to this number 0906 895 2170. For more inquiries, please call 0907 400 7816. Powered by SRTV London. The face of SRTV, who takes the crown.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Wake Up Nigeria, of course, where we bring you trending topical issues and issues bordering on you and the nation as a whole. Before that break, we're on the newspapers review, and I have with me here Patient and, of course, Moses, all the way with us here. Moses, I'm going to go quickly now to the Authority newspaper, and these are some of the stories making waves this morning. We have a story here that says Buhari ready for Daura May 29. This is coming from the SGF. The writer says packed his buses to leave the villa, he says. Tinubu's representatives already on the transition committee. Of course, the stories can be seen on page 2 of the paper. And of course, we have another story here that says Frank Uba, 23 other CPs promoted to police AGI rank. We have another story here that says Abia governorship returning officer receives heroic reception at workplace. You remember that lady, Moses? And then we have that story, of course, is on page 4 of the Authority newspaper. We also have a story here that says 10th NAS, why Senate presidency should go to Southeast. And that is coming from Kalu this morning on page 6 of the paper. We have another story here also that says reps extend 2022 capital budget to June 2023. That story is on page 5 of the Authority newspaper. We also have a story here this morning that says we have evidence Peter Obi won the 2023 presidential election. This is coming from Afenifere this morning on page 7 of the Authority newspaper. We have another story here that says Ihedioha withdraws from Imo PDP governorship race. That story is on page 16. Another story here also that says we have nipped NLC's protest over cash crunch. This is coming from Igege this morning on page 16. We have another story here that says reps move to end violation of FCC Act on page 9 of the paper this morning. This is so interesting, Moses, that this lady, the returning officer from Abia State, we know that on that day of that particular, when they called the results, that the Labour Party guy won, there was so much excitement. I could see her pictures all over social media. A lot of people were excited that of course, she did well. And the people are actually saying when because of course I follow the trend that that means we still have hope that there are some good people left in the country. Now, what you have to say on that, Moses?
Precisely, see, when I once transpired in 2023 general elections, I mean, starting from the presidential and national assembly elections, we saw areas where returning officers who are professors that people have so much respect. I mean, somehow taking somehow allowing themselves to be used by politicians. The example I have is that of the vice chancellor of the University of Jos, Professor Dan, who was the returning officer for the governorship election in Nasarawa. And we saw how with trouble on social media, Nigeria were angry because of the way he was allowed himself to be used. Now, going by this professor on is it Betty or Naj or so of the Federal University of Technology word, we were meant to understand that there were several calls for her to manipulate that election. But she said her questions would allow her. And she stood there. You saw at the point that you have to ask them to return to Abuja. I mean, to review the process before even announcing the result. So she remained firm. She refused herself to be used by politicians. I'm looking at how much getting this by the students and management of Federal University of Technology World.
And of course, that is what we are known for, the women. So just maybe you people should give us more chance to do things. It's not very hard to like persuade a lady to do something. Are you aware of that? Especially when we talk about women in power, they are firm when it comes to decision making or taking. That is my point.
Well, this should be a topic for another day.
Okay, now I know you're biased already, so we're going to leave that for another day. Look at what you're saying.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not biased against women. They are my mothers, they are sisters, and I respect and I cherish women. You see, we shouldn't lie here. We still have men out there who would not want their name to be taken for any reasons. And of course, we also have women out there. What we want to say about the life of Patricia of what is it, 6 or 7? I think it's 6 reps. Where she, as the Speaker of the House of Reps, she misbehaved. she's a woman too.
That's right.
So let's not realize it. We still have good men out there as well as we still have
Of course, that
women
is
out
very
there.
correct. We have good people out there.
For the VC of Federal University of Technology Owerri, and my respect and
All our respect, like she did wonderfully well. We will keep applauding her. I think this is one of our I think this will be one of a major legacy she will be leaving behind even after she retired from that school and all that. But we're just really hoping that we see more of people coming out to do the right thing. You put the people first, not actually some individuals, not the money. This kind of person probably must have been enticed, or what they would have enticed her with so much money, so much threats and all that, but she decided to do the right thing, and we are happy that she did. A lot of people, especially the youth, they are so happy. Social media was agog that very day. We could see her pictures flying all over with so much joy everywhere, and we are really hoping that we see more of people like this, whether female or male. Thank you so much, Moses. We move quickly to the next newspaper.
On Al Jazeera, so I beg your pardon, on Al Jazeera, Nigeria, midweek, PDP crisis. Ayu surrenders, Damagun emerges acting chairman, bids farewell to Wadata Plaza. How power play, court order eased out Ayu. The story will be found on page 9. And on page 2, Naira crisis. Labour extends strike ultimatum by 2 weeks. DMO exceeds borrowing target by 58%, rises 1.9 trillion naira. And the story is on page 2 of the Al Jazeera midweek newspaper. Lassa fever, NCDC confirms 784 crises, 142 deaths in 23 states. And the story is on page 6 of the newspaper. And on page 22, we have federal government to mainstream risks mitigation, prevention of GBV, tolling. And on page 21, Senate approves 10 additional national parks. Buhari, oil exploration in Nasarawa will lead to greater prosperity. And the story, of course, is found on page 9 of the Al Jazeera midweek. Moses, what do you think about this federal government to mainstream risks mitigation, prevention of GBV?
I'm not sure if I'm clear questions about the particular headline I'm talking about.
Okay. Um, Naira crisis, Labour extends strike ultimatum by 2 weeks. What do you have to say, Moses?
Okay, okay. Uh, discuss
Discussed
that
that
earlier.
story before. But yes, go ahead, Moses. There's something pending about that story. I want you to hold that thoughts until we get to a particular paper, because Labour went further to say something that I want you to um, um, progress on. But I have a story here from what you just read that I want you also to throw more light on. Now we have this case of Lassa fever ravaging a lot of states. Of course, we're going to bring health experts on the show this week, probably. I saw the story, and yesterday also we had issues of 22 died from meningitis. We had issues of waterhead disease ravaging the children, over 78 million people. And then now we're talking about, just when yesterday we had meningitis, today we are talking about Lassa fever. And then a lot of people I saw in the reports here that 23 deaths in some states. Okay, 142 deaths in 23 states, and 784 cases confirmed. It's really, I feel this is an emergency. Something have to be done. Aside now, why I want us, of course, this is something that is left for health experts, but I'm just saying that aside the medical people now, we as Nigerians, what we can do, Moses, is that we should be able to keep a clean environment. If we don't do that, it's going to be a problem, because we know how Lassa fever, what leads to Lassa fever, and then these are some of the things we're supposed to avoid in our homes, in our environment. If you don't do that, you keep inviting these rodents, and then they come to your house, and before you know, uh, it's a problem for everybody, and it's something that I am thinking that everybody. I even said at the end of the show today that that would be my major message to people: keep a clean and safe environment, because you cannot live in a place that is dirty, untidy. This is what leads to a lot of things like this. And now, Moses, also, I know your state is inclusive in that, and when you go in the details of that report, Nasarawa also is inclusive. Now, what will you have to
Yes,
say?
Princess.
Yes.
Yes, Princess. I would like to call on the federal government to declare emergency in our health sector. The issue of Lassa fever, we have been with us for a couple of years now, and I still don't understand why we can't leave this on the go. How is that so to us? Creating awareness. Our government at different levels need to sit up. They need to create awareness. Let the citizens know the danger of keeping the environment. I mean, unkept.
Unkept.
You can see, you go to some communities and you see water is crossing homes, and bushes everywhere. And you're wondering, it's because our representative are not doing what they should. What's stopping the councillor who probably is from a particular community take it as its consulting project to ensure that he regular town meetings with his constituents, letting them know the need to ensure the environment is clean. They need to ensure because once the environment is clean, prudent will get close to where you are.
That's right.
I mean, before even when you touch on the food that you eat. And also, the way we preserve some food items that find it's time to go to the market to buy them, it's also a problem. So there's need for an emergency to be declared in the health sector so that government at all levels we sit and then find a way to address the situation. It's a problem. You can imagine 140 something.
That is right. 142 deaths in 23 states, and then we have 784 cases confirmed as of today. It's quite alarming, and like what you said, must be done. That is right. That's right. We move forward with the reviews. And then there's a story here also on the Al Jazeera Nigerian midweek that says, in shock move, Ihedera withdraws from Imo PDP governorship primaries. That story is on page 17 of the paper. We have another story here also that says domestic food prices remain high globally, says World Bank on page 22 of the paper. We have a story here also that says IED planted for troops kill Boko Haram bomb maker. That story is on page 17 of the paper. Moses, this is another thing that is alarming. The fact that food prices are getting skyrocketed on a daily basis. that something have to be done, because a lot of people are going in and complaining. You go to the market, something that was so yesterday I had issues with a plumber that came to fix things for me, and something I used to buy as low as 600 or be 400 saved, now they are telling me it's 109 last. Like, it's the rates of everything, not just food in particular, but like everything, and it's really telling on the people. And then they don't increase salaries of people. They are still on that basis. We're still talking about 30,000 minimum wage, and then we're still on the same level. But then these other things keeps skyrocket, like even fuel, for instance. Then it was one is in 165, and now it's one almost 200. Who knows where we're going? It's really sad, Moses. I think not just the health sector as a sector, but every sector in this country, in this your Nigeria, needs a state of emergency, if you ask me.
It's as you say, the issue of food insecurity is changing Nigerians. Well, now, let's talk about, I want to narrow it down to Nigeria. What is it? Why food shortages or food insecurity? When farmers can't go to farm, when bandits, when herdsmen and all kinds of insecurity.
That's right.
Threatening farmers in their farms. What do you expect? So the government must do all it can with it's their constitutional responsibility to protect and defend our citizens. So unless something is done, it's going to cause a major challenges for us going forward. Because if people can freely go to their farms without being harassed, without being kidnapped, without being killed, it's a sign of
That is that is true. That is true. And then we just really do hope that the security agencies also will beef up and do more than we already seen, so that people are able to access their farms and their produce as well. And then we move on quickly to the Nigerian Pilot newspaper this morning, and these are some of the stories making waves. We have on the major headline here that say Naira scarcity, NSC suspends strike. The riders says cites report of availability of cash as result for suspension. Reasons for suspension. We have another story here that says Labour will monitor availability of cash for the next 2 weeks. Wants that it will embark on protest if naira notes become unavailable by the end of 2 weeks. That committee has been set up to monitor situation in commercial banks within 2 weeks. All these stories can be seen on page 8 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. We also have a story here that says PDP replaces IU, names Damango acting national chairman, on page 5 of the Nigerian Pilot. We have another story here also that say inciting remarks. ICC reviews petition to probe Tinubu spokesman Onanuga, on page 8 of the paper. And then we have another story here also that say federal government to build 3 settlement camps for Nigerian refugees in neighboring countries. That story is on page 8 of the paper. We also have a story here also 13 kidnapped victims rescued in Kogi. Uh, that story is on page 7 of the paper. We have another story here as well that says security on top of our administration agenda. This is coming from Governor Diri on page 5. We have another story here. Here they were withdraws from governorship race in Imo. That story is on page 7 of the paper. We have a story as well that says Senate extends 2022 budget implementation by another 3 months. That story, of course, it's on page 5 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. We have a story as well here that says panic as Lassa fever claims 142 lives in 11 weeks. That story is on page 6. And we have another story as well that says 64.7 million Nigerians growing with insufficient food consumption. This is coming from the World Bank, and that story, of course, is on page 20 of the Nigerian Pilot newspaper. Moses, I have some stories here that actually caught my attention. Like I said, I told you earlier that this NLC story is what there's another part of it I want you to throw light on. They are saying that they cited. You already gave us that reason that the suspension was based on availability of cash in some of the states. And then Labour now is saying that they will monitor the availability of cash for the next 2 weeks. Once that it will embark on protest if the notes become unavailable by the end of 2 weeks, and that they set up a committee also to monitor the situation in commercial banks within 2 weeks. Now, Moses, I wanted to ask you. That is why I had to pause till we get to this particular paper. So, are you sure? I know you've been with Labour for quite a decade now. Are you very sure that we'll be able to do this? Because I just feel like in Nigeria, there's nothing we can do well, and we have over 30 something states, and then we're saying that you're going to set up committee to monitor every commercial bank. How feasible is this, Moses?
NLC has all its branches, its affiliates in the 36 states of the federation. It has its affiliates in the 774 local government branches. It's doing this. It's the only structure you could think about is labor. In the city, they have committee. They have committee. You know they have banks here that like their affiliates. This kind of in the banks. They also have other affiliates, members of the union that I mean inform members of that committee. The issue is Labour is interested in solution. He wants the scarcity to be addressed.
Even at that, Moses, my question is how feasible it is that you are going to make people available, set up a committee to watch, to monitor all commercial banks across the states. That's quite a lot, if you ask me.
No, it's a very simple thing to do. That's why I explained to you earlier that in the 36 state of the federation, we have state council of the Nigerian Labour Congress. We also have state council of trade union congress. Now, all we need to do is to put in place the few members committee in the various state statute and as well as local government to monitor banks around their areas. And mind you, Nigerian workers have dependents cut across to get fever whether the naira is available or not. So, I mean, if people can do this, it's feasible. It's something that can be done without any stress.
Well, we do hope that they meet up with this, because I feel, my personal opinion, I feel like this is quite much. That you're going to set up committee to move from one bank to the other to monitor the activity, whether or not we have naira notes availability or scarcity of it. We see how that goes. We have more stories now coming from.
Standard Times Nigerian newspaper. 2 months to hand over massive shake-up in army. 75 senior officers redeployed. And the story is found on page 2 of the Standard Times Nigerian newspaper. Buhari optimistic of greater prosperity as oil exploration activities begin in Nasarawa State. And this is on page 13 of the newspaper. Simon Ekpa orders Igbos to observe sit at home in Lagos. And this is on page 3. And on page 8 Man sells father to ritualists for 1.8 million naira in Ekiti State. And on page 2, again, Tinubu nominates Bagudu Idun into Transition Council. Fonso Aina, MTN's image maker, bags EMEA Innovator of the Year award in Germany. And this is on page 4 of the newspaper. And on page 10, Afenifere insists Peter Obi won 2023 presidential election, suspends two national offices. The story is on page 10. And on page 2, Abia PDP to challenge Uba House of Assembly elections results. On page 3 of the newspaper, Adeleke issues executive order to protect Ari Aribosola in Osun. And on page 9, cash crunch. NLC TUC extends strike ultimatum by 2 weeks. And on page 22, Senate passes bills to extend implementation of 2022 budget. I beg your pardon. And PDP crisis thickens. Are you kicked out? Damagun takes over. And this story is on page 14 of the Nigerian Standard Times newspaper.
Okay, you have more stories.
That's all.
Okay, we have. I will quickly take it up from. This is Nigerian newspaper this morning, and these are some of the headlines we have today here. Embattled Ayu steps down as PDP national chair. He's gone for good, says Wike as Damangum takes over in acting capacity. But the judge, I warned him. That story is on page 2 of the paper. Cash scarcity. We are not satisfied with CBN's level of compliance. This is coming from Labour this morning on page 4 of the paper. Also, we have this morning Balogu fire. One body recovered, seven injured, four arrested. That story is on page 23 of the paper. We also have a story here that says Nigerian can build climate resilience economy. This is coming from the AFDB reports, and that story is on page 20 of the paper. Tinubu's group threatening to resist interim government's arrangements, absolves INEC of electoral malpractices. All these stories can be seen on page 4 of this Nigerian newspaper. Also, we move quickly this morning to the leadership newspaper, and these are some of the stories making waves this morning. Naira's scarcity, LNC shows planned strike by 2 weeks on page 7. We have 31 day after presidential poll. G5 governors move to seal Ayu's fate amid PDP crisis. That story is on page 4. Citing court order, embattled party chairman steps aside, ending his 514-day reign. Damangu takes over. Ayu is gone forever, Wike boasts. And Rivers Governor Otom behind illegal suspension. This is coming from the council, campaign council this morning. All these stories are on page 4 of the paper. We have another story here that says 1 year after Kaduna train attack, victim items unclaimed. That story is on page 26 of the leadership newspaper. Also have a story here that says Lagos governorship will of the people prevailed. This is coming from Hansard on page 22 of the paper. Also have another story here that says senatorial bid, Autumn withdraws case from tribunal, seeks forgiveness. That story is on page 24 of the paper. And we have another story as well. This is coming from the Vice President to Simbaja this morning on page 7 of the leadership, that terrorism in Shah region, a global challenge. And then we have a story here as well that says Zenith Bank grow earnings by 24% to 945.5 billion naira. These are all the stories we have this morning, making waves of the leadership newspaper. And of course, this is the last paper for the day, daily assets. These are some of the stories this morning. PDP crisis, IU obeys Benue High Court order, vacates office. The writer says as well that PDP appoint Damangu acting chairman. National Working Committee meets today to review happenings. All the stories, of course, on page 2 of the paper. We also have another story here also that say 24 die in Niger road accidents on page 4 of the paper. And of course, Buhari, this is coming from Buhari this morning that says oil exploration in Benue through key to prosperity, energy security, and Nasarawa oil exploration will increase Nigerians' reserve. This is coming from the NNPCL this morning. And that story, of course, is on page 2 of the Daily Assets newspaper. We have another story here also that say Tom withdraws petition against APC as senator elect on page 22 of the paper. We also have this morning reps extend 2022 capital supplementary budget execution to June 30th of this year 2023 on page 5 of the paper. And then we also have 151 stranded Nigerians departed Libya as federal government resume evacuation. That story is on page 8 of the paper. And then we have experts predict financial instability in the second quarter. That is on page 14. And then we have another story here also that says uh, federal government targets 50 billion barrels of hydrocarbon reserve. That story is on page 13, and these are some of the stories we have this morning making waves across the country. Patient, just before we go, what do you think can be done? I know because I've been on the beat for a long time. I've been covering the road safety for quite some years now, and I know they do so well to put in efforts. Not just we're not talking within cities, but when you go on the highway and the express, they I feel like, in my personal opinion, I feel like they're trying their best as well to put in efforts. But what do you think Nigerians can do? A lot of ranging from fire incidents we saw in Balogo markets from December or November till now. I've seen cases of fire incident in Balogo, to be precise, over 3 cases. And then we're seeing so many accidents claiming lives on daily basis. Now we have 24 die in Niger road accident. Now, what do you think Nigerians should do? Now, what would be your advice to them, especially some of these drivers?
Okay, it is best that a driver drives not so speedily on the highway, because most times when we talk of accidents, it is caused by overspeeding. And then some drivers, when you drive, you use your phones. We have people who keep children in the front seats while driving. We have people who take in alcoholic stuffs before going into the express. So as Nigerians, we should do what is right to prevent unnecessary accidents and accidents that would claim lives, innocent lives. Because at the end of the day, innocent people are being affected. So as drivers on the highway, observe the road safety um, regulations, the laws guiding the road. We should, as drivers, abide by these rules, abide by the law guiding the road, and do not overspeed. Over time, it's been said that drivers should not overspeed on the highway. Overspeeding kills. Everybody is aware, but then some drivers still still do it. So we should do what's right to prevent.
But
Um,
sorry to cut you in, right? I feel like sometimes, accidents is something I would never pray for anybody to have. I've been involved in like two major accidents, and one, of course, the driver was very reckless. I could say that was what affected my legs, and then another I heard just last year, early last year, was that I practically I saw I saw that the driver was careful enough. In fact, I was comfortable. Because of the first accident I had, I have never been comfortable somebody driving me. But because I was traveling into states across borders, I needed to use a public transport. And then when that accident, I noticed that the man was he was good in driving. He was, of course, he was not even over speeding. So we were all okay until another vehicle rammed into us. So on the process of him trying to maneuver and all that, now we now got a critical accident. So the issue is that sometimes also is not even based on the person driving. The fault could be from another person that is on the other side of the road, but it's all boiled down also to being careful while you're on the highway, not just on the highway, but of course on the roads, any road you find yourself. As far as you're behind the steering, you should be careful. And like you said, also pointed out, I think some of these drivers should stay away from hard drugs, smoking things that are way too strong, drinking too much, and then before you come and start carrying people, endangering the lives of so many people in the name of, oh, I know what I'm doing. Do you know how many years I've been driving? Don't teach me my job. How old are you to tell me how to drive? Nigerians.
some of them get offended when you tell them slow down, take it easy. They get offended, and you hear some of them say, "Ah, madam, waiting they worry you." All of that stuff. We should be careful. Drivers should be extremely careful. You can never be careful enough.
That is right. You
Yeah,
can never be too careful,
but
but you
then
still have to take measures,
yeah,
precautions. Yesterday, I was driving also from the other office as I was coming at on a traffic light. We were just waiting, and my side was like to go. We're going, and the next thing, Keke just came in my front. He was trying to bypass the other side, and it was face to face. If you see the way I marched on my brake, because he just came out from nowhere from the other side of the road, and everybody in the Keke was just screaming, was shouting, "This man, are you drunk? Are you drunk?" And he was smiling as if nothing
they
happened.
care.
I already saw him. Thank God I saw him. I saw the Keke quick, and I just marched brake. And the guy that was carrying was shouting that no, if it's me, there is no how I would have just climbed this man and passed, because, and I felt like the people, there was a lady there was just holding her chest. So these are, and you wouldn't know what's ahead's
Yeah,
history, and these are some of the issues. I just think the drivers will need to do more, and even road safety still have to, can't stop trying. These are some of the guidelines. I remember when I went to take my driver's license, and then there was at the office they were teaching some people. They actually came to do driver's license, and you have to go through a particular test before you go, not just the driving test, but you have the practical, the theoretical aspect as well. And they were asking them, what sign is this, what sign? You'll be shocked that a lot of people that came from driving school don't know the signs. And then they ask you, what if you see this on the road, what does that mean? They don't have any idea. And I think they are doing well, but we call on them, we appeal to them also to do more than just doing well, for them to secure more lives as well, because the rate of accident over just this year is too much. I'm very sad that one accident just came and took over 24 people died in that crash. So you can imagine the numbers. And as well, we have a recurrence issue of fire incidents. We had the Onisha main market. Balogu, like I said, from November to now has been like 4 or 5 times. And for the first time in this, all these ones we lost someone. It's really sad, and I think market people also should learn to turn off their yes, they should be able to follow these guidelines, and also don't leave your iron on, because sometimes you see tailors in the market. I once had issue like that. A lady staying across my street, she left her iron switch, and NEPA took light, she didn't unplug, and before you know, in the morning everywhere, the whole building was on fire. And so people should learn to take these precautions. Just turn off. If I remove the plug, remove every switch you need to remove. Make sure everything is on neutral before you leave that to your business place, not to cause havoc to others. You can imagine a market when fire got a place, a goods worth million to just go down the line. These are some of the issues trending today. Of course, tomorrow I'm going to have an analyst as well to discuss some of these very topical and weighty issues today. Patience, thank you so much for being part of the show this morning. It was nice having you. It has been a fun ride as well. Thank you, viewers, for being part of the show today. And just before we go, don't forget, like I always say, our Nigerian Week London is very fast. Let me not even tell you people the little secret I have, Sha, but the thing is already making sense. Like, I have a lot of superstars already, but I will not mention their name. Oh, you just have to wait and see. But as time goes on, just maybe I'm going to give you that little expo. Although we have like 2 already or 4 of them coming on board. When I mean superstars, you know what that means. It's going to be serious Nigeria Bedu when we get to London. So don't be part of it. Make sure you get your stand, your ticket. We have a lot of ministries partnering with us already. We have agencies, we have a lot of them ranging from the national troop, information and culture, trade and investment. We have quite a lot of them. We might even be bringing the Nigerian customs. Just be part of it. It's going to be fun. Let's talk about the culture. You know how colorful Nigerians can be when it comes to party. And then let's talk about the films. Let's talk about the music, and let's talk about the food. I'm interested. The food, of course, all kind of delicacies will be displayed there. So be part of it. We're calling on people both here in diaspora, in home and abroad. Just be packing into it, and then let's go and pepper them gang in London. Let's show the little of our color to the world, and don't also forget the business part of it. You're going to make contact, friends, and of course, business partners. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Like I will always say, we talked about issue of Lassa fever today, and this one is going to make me bring a doctor into the show. Please do well to take care of your environment. We cannot live without saying this very important tips. Live in a clean it doesn't take time to clean up. It's a little thing. Just clean everywhere for your health and that of others. And as well, while you're out there, stay hydrated and remember that peace is priceless. So let's give peace a chance. Stay safe and be at alert. To do this again tomorrow. I remain yours truly, Princess KESSY.
Philip Patience.
Bye for now.
RTV London, in partnership with NTA TV Enterprise, present the maiden edition of the Nigerian Week in the capital of the world, London. A wonderful blend of entertainment, business, and networking, displaying a wide range of art, national cash crops, financial products and services, and real estate. For huge extra opportunity in diaspora, look no further. The 36 states of the Federation, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Trade and Investment, the Nigerian Film Corporation, and host of others will be in attendance. Date 15 to 21st of May 2023. Venue Lighthouse, Camberwell, Southeast London. For details, log on www.superradiotelevision.com/Nigerian Week or call +447 549 513 619 or +234 814 358 28